Aaron Rye's the third best player in the field on the odds board, followed by Tony Finau.
Is that not the case at Augusta? Is Aaron Rye not the third best player in the field?
No.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, like you said when we were talking about Victor.
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog. Houston Open bets, picks, preview, one and done, plus a recap of everything that has transpired over the past 7 days. You smash the like, you sub to the channel, you give me your winner that is not Scotty or Rory down in the description right now, okay? Geoff Fienberg on the line with me. Sir, how have your past 7 days went? Because I'm exhausted.
Probably not as good as yours. Out of the house on a golf trip. Always jealous seeing people golfing when I'm not. But I got no complaints. The golf fan had to supersede the golf better on the weekend, but the golf fan was very pleased.
Well, my comments on Viktor Hovland as it pertained to our Ryder Cup discussion from yesterday's show, which we filmed 5 days in advance, were kind of freezing cold takes, Geoff. Although I don't think a win at the Valspar automatically gets him on the Ryder Cup team, Viktor Hovland, that being, but it's a good step in the right direction.
I'm really, honestly, I don't know there's a way he's no, I ain't going to be on the Ryder Cup team. Yeah, you could protect, even if he's playing poorly, you can protect a guy. You know, you could put him out in a different format. You can give him the best opportunity to succeed. I look forward to debating not just Victor, but every Ryder Cup spot that'll be up for grabs over the next few months. It was just lovely to see. I spoke about Victor on the show last week, Pat, but in the end, like, I got myself. It was a confluence of things. The 3 missed cuts, then being in a weather wave that ETR is saying is worth a shot. Well, I said I think there's money to be made in Victor. I didn't think he could come out and win. I thought there were markets where you certainly could make some good coin on him. Nothing tops what ceiling marked 80-1 after some drift with the weather wave splits on the odds boards.
Well, that worked out to my advantage. I did the show with Sia before I left discussing the weather waves, and I wrote this up in the newsletter and the article that I post on Twitter that I was going heavy on the AM PM, the good weather wave, and trying to get different that way, but I allocated 40% of my lineups, and I had Sam Ryder and Corey Connors from the bad wave from when we spoke on Monday about, getting those guys up before we knew what the tee times were. But I just leaned heavy into the bad side of it, and Geoff, it worked out well. I ended up winning 6,600 on DraftKings based on one of those teams, and if I had just got Shane Lowry across the finish line and not Viktor Hovland, then I would have won $200,000. But it's the closest I've ever come to winning that big contest in golf.
Nice score, beauty. Even to pull that without the top guys at the top is always impressive. I'm not even a weather guy. Like, I make my content usually so early in the week where I plant flags and I'm stubborn. Like, if I said something that I'm betting a guy, he'd have to get shot in the leg for me to be like, I don't want to bet the guy. I don't know. I thought it was overrated. There was just, picking a winner is so hard, right? I mean,
yes,
I've already hit 3. Hitting a winner is so hard, and part of like doing what we do weekly, Pat, is almost finding reasons not to bet guys. Like, just cross them off. There's a reason to cross someone off, cross them off. Like, almost eliminating, right, from the list of guys I'm going to bet on. And I don't know, it got in my head where winning's hard enough. Like, why do I want to play into this other wave? And it ended up being a bit meaningless. And listen, some of our great friends, I know, like Vincenzi and Blake over at Tap It In were on Victor at the 80. They didn't care about the weather wave. And, those boys, like, they don't knit. So when they hit, it's freaking grenades. And shout out to people who aren't nearly as deep in this shit as we are, Pat. A buddy of mine just like, yeah, I bet Victor. I looked at the odds board. So I was 70-1 and I hit it. I had no idea. Why would he be 70-1? No idea he missed 3 cuts. No idea about the weather wave. Like just the straightest casual. I'm not even saying that as an insult. And it clearly, like, knowing less in that instance was a great beneficiary. Just like, I'm playing that fucking number. I don't know what you golf hardos know. I don't care he shot 80. I didn't even know he shot 80 at Sawgrass. Would essentially have been like the rebuttal on that bet. So credit to everyone. Victor at freaking 80. It reminded me, Pat, in a smaller sense of when we hit like Brooks at 50 in Phoenix once. After he'd already won it.
That's a really good call because we notice this sometimes when you have these elite players that are just off and nothing is going right for them and they fall dramatic. Like there's a difference between, if this was this time last year, Victor would have been what, 14-1 in the Valspar field? Tommy would not have been the favorite on the betting board, put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, he would have been right there. We would, like, the depths of his problems wouldn't have been fully realized. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know whether it was a future, but I don't know if people were on him for last year's Masters, but yeah, certainly under 20-1, there's not even a conversation to have about that.
Yeah, and now he drifts to 70 to 80, whatever it is that people got in at. That's a good reminder to us that we see this happen 2 or 3 times a year where you have one of these players who's very good. Their odds don't make any sense because they've been playing terribly. I guess the move is to just bet them until they win or at least show some sort of form that they get better and start inching back up. Because the moment, as you mentioned this too on yesterday's show, that it's a one-way market in terms of futures because we were looking at Victor's futures and he was still 25-1 to win every major, 30-1 to win every major, but he was 70-1 to win the Valspar. It's like, okay, maybe that's a decent comparison to go use. Take a look at what their Masters odds are, or U.S. Open odds are, and compare them to the tournament that they're currently playing in. If there's more than a 50-point shift, just bet on them.
And like ceiling talent, we're betting guys to win. You know what I mean? Like, not being hard on myself. 10 years ago, Pat, when we started, I'd be dead. You know, like how I used to be. Now, like listen, Victor winning, like if Tommy won, I mean, if it would have been 14-1, it would have been hard to like miss being able to like recoup any actual money. But like the golf fan in me can just take over. Like the annoyed, stubborn bettor can like squish down and I can just be happy. But I had a bit of a breaking point. Because, like, obviously Victor won. And I don't need to be upset about that. But I can be upset about the decisions that I made while not picking Victor. Just as an example, Pat. Like, just bet the good players. Bet them to their ceiling. It takes almost a ceiling performance to win. Yes, we've seen, like, Rory win with B- game. Scotty can do that, too. I bet on Ben fucking Ann. 65-1
instead of Victor. I bet on Michael.
No, I don't want to say it was between them, but the fact that there was a Victor there, and it's to the point like take the number, take the guy who has win equity, take the guy who, if he's in the fight, is big dick, big ball swinging dog. I literally took the neutered fucking Maltese. That like hurts. And what he did watching that shit on Saturday in the fairway on 12, puts it in a bunker, proceeds to bogey 5 of his 7 final holes in the goddamn lead. I promised I wouldn't bet him again. I just thought this was a nice place. When I bet this guy, he, like, I don't know, lost to a dead guy. Told myself I'd never bet him again. I bet him again. He did something stupid. And now I've bet him again. So I keep breaking promises to myself. I don't even bet the guy a lot, but when I do bet him, he makes it so... I guess that's just how it is. If you bet Ben N regularly, it's probably just an excruciating thing. But he was at 9 under. At 12 on Saturday. Finished the day at 4 under. It's not like he made a quad. Whatever. That's me. Victor, way to go. Team Europe. You're not betting Europe. It's plus 160. I'm not actually saying to bet on something in September at plus 160. You'd probably be better off getting plus 140 the week of and keeping your money for a time. But I'm just telling you, this is the high water mark. Like the number will not ever be higher than plus 160. So if you're interested in like having the ceiling number, it's not moving past 160. It's not. It's not. I can't. It's baseball starts this week. That's my second favorite team, the Toronto Blue Jays, definitive gap behind the Chargers. My third favorite team in sport is that European Ryder Cup team, though.
You like them more than the international team at the President's Cup?
Yeah, like I get into it more, for sure. For sure. Anyone who's watched this podcast for the last 10 years could probably like be like, yeah, I don't think he's lying. I've never seen him talk about any team other than the Chargers as much as those guys. So yeah, more than the President's Cup. It's different. President's Cup is we're like playing in different pools.
Yeah, this is true. So, do we want to talk about Justin Thomas? Because he finally had a good putting performance. He almost gained 7 strokes putting at the Valspar and then gave it away at the end. Although it took a miraculous run to get up there in the first place on the back nine, only to have him get the snake pit. And that was the end of him.
Yeah, he's so good. He gets on these heater moments, Pat, but within the heater, I mean, like, I don't know. He has these heat checks. At the Players a couple weeks ago, he tried to, like, hit a very aggressive. He was playing great. Then he tried to hit that very aggressive shot in, like, the Pine Straw on 18 on Saturday. And he, like, or Friday maybe, dunks it in the water. I don't know. He's playing great. Winning is hard. The snake pit determined the tournament. That's it. And Victor didn't even hit driver on 16, where Justin whipped out the driver. He obviously felt like $1 million after hitting that putt on 15. Adrenaline's coursing. He's a champion golfer, not open champion golfer, but clear like 16 career wins. It's fucking go time. But I mean, the guy handled his loss with all class. He not only signed autographs for infinity time, he also met the media and was very open and up front, and then showed up last night and helped the drive win. So I don't know, Morikawa, JT, maybe they'll find it. I won't be on them when they do, unless it's an insane live number or something.
You've said for, I think, the past 2 months that you're never betting JT again. And outside of last week, inevitably when we get to the tournament, you bet on him.
I didn't. No, that's not true. When's the last? I bet JT a few weeks ago, and I haven't bet him since. I am not betting on the drought to end. Like when it ends, maybe I'll get back on him, but I'm not. And like for the Masters, like I said on the show, like there's no way I am betting on 500, 700 day wind droughts to end at Augusta. There is no chance. There's no chance. None.
Going into Sunday, who did you think was going to win that tournament? Because it felt like a crapshoot.
Someone random. I just like whether it was Hitsetsune, Novak. I don't want to say Castillo. That would have felt like a huger ask. But like just someone, just the totality of random bodies, I felt like one of them would meet the moment. And in the end, it was the two like elite high-profile players who met the moment. And what a fun finish it was. But no, I wasn't cocky enough to try to pick it. Like I didn't make a live Sunday morning bet. I didn't want to bet any of them at 30-1 or 20-1. But even Nico, I just thought it would be one of the random guys.
If it had been, not only had it been Bridgeman, I win the 200K. If Bridgeman had made his putt on 18 for the 12-footer for birdie on 18, it would have bumped me up $20,000.
Strokes.
When you're playing against that many people and you're trying to look at the different combinations, I was actually talking to a guy afterwards. I got stuck in the airport for 7 hours yesterday, so I had a ton of time on my hands. That I was trying to chase him. He was ahead of me in this contest, and I was trying to work out like every different way that I would need to pass him on the leaderboard. Like who needs to play well, who doesn't need to play well. And I got off to the best of starts. Ryder, Glover, and Colley. I think they were combined 12 under through 6 holes or something like that. Glover ended up giving all of his back. That didn't help. But I just really needed Bridgeman to keep going, as it turns out, because none of us expected Victor to make this charge. Then all the Victor teams moved up, and I was like, oh, well, if Victor's going to win, how do I get the most out of this? And it was for Bridgeman to go birdie to end. He birdied 17 and had the look on 18 and then just now missed. Because he's Bridgeman. And now he's Cust one and done for the week.
Oh, okay. I wasn't planning on betting him, but I don't think it would. I wouldn't have thought ill of the pick.
Yeah, dude's playing great.
Cust. Here's about a guy for the first time, one and done the next week. Love him.
He's currently
Like, he
winning.
didn't know about
he's
Bridgeman
he's
before
currently
the
winning our one and done, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't. Just how it's a three man. That's volatile. Someone will big game hunt. I'm not worried.
Did you watch TGL? The first leg of the TGL play, the finals, the best of three, was on Monday night. Now it is on Tuesday night. The Atlanta Drive is now up 1-0. Feel like minus 135 on the Atlanta Drive to win game number 2 and just to win 2-0 is the bet here. They should have lost on Monday night. I don't think that New York could have played any better, and they still lost. So I'm going to continue rolling out with the better team.
Full transparency, I didn't watch a second of it. So
this is going to be a bad cutout clip when I tag TGL.
no, we could do it again.
No,
we could do it again.
It's fine.
They started it at 9. I had it on. It was 9 o'clock. No one had hit a golf shot by 9:20. It left my TV and never came back on.
That was the issue. It got preempted by women's final or women's March Madness, didn't it?
I wasn't even sure. It just seemed like a lot of lollygagging. If I'm like bored enough, I could watch anything, especially anything golf. I must have found something else and passed out or never found my way back.
So the way that it works this evening is going to be if New York wins the first match, it goes to the sudden death. It's a best of 3, so it'd be tied 1-1. I just think Atlanta gets it done right away. They just seem like the overall better team, and they have Justin Thomas in this format is kind of his heater runs work really well on TGL because he'll just chip in out of nowhere or make that 40-foot putt. And as Paul has pointed out to me the entire TGL season, Billy Horschel makes every putt always.
Yeah, apparently I was seeing some stats. He's going to be the league MVP.
He should be.
Doesn't lose.
It was going to be Wyndham Clark, but he got hurt. But apparently he's playing this week. Decided not to show up for our Bay GC in their critical matchup against Atlanta a week ago. But I think he would have been MVP had he have played in that game and they won. But yeah, Billy Horschel's probably the answer. Not who I would have picked at the beginning of the TGL season.
No, you're like Billy's. Yeah, listen, Billy's good TV. He knows what he's doing.
Did you see his left-handed shot at Valspar?
Oh my God, the shot, and he made the 30-footer. That fucked so hard. That was so amazing. And even as the announcers pointed out, like watching the replay of it, Pat, the ball flight on the shot was like so authentically a real shot, if that makes any sense. Like the ball flight looks so true, you wouldn't have known from like the gallery around the green that this guy was side flipping an iron.
I can tell you whose ball flight did not look like that this week. Mine.
Yeah, that happens. I have maybe one of my weirder yet funnier, irrelevant conspiracy theories.
Okay, hit me.
That being said, I do think my record on conspiracy theories on the Mayo media experience is actually pretty good. And I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. Like there was one and I hit it. But this is irrelevant and more of a joke. If Justin Thomas won on Sunday, I don't think Tiger's putting out that tweet at 8 o'clock.
Why?
They're friends. He'd give him his like moment of golf news. Like he would give him the evening to have Golf Internet give him his win. Not send out the most awkward, cringiest, I don't even know, Facebook official post I've ever seen. If Tiger Woods played in the NFL and he posted that, we'd be accusing him of CTE. Like, I don't even know. Listen, some of these guys, they're so out of touch with reality, you don't know if they have real friends anymore. That Tiger account, like, it's curated properly. Mark Sternberg, right? The longtime great agent, right-hand man. But I just hope he's getting fucking roasted by like Nota Begay in his friends group chat, if that even exists. What an insane post.
You're going to love the thumbnail for this show then.
I love it. Mac Daddy Tiger returning the same night as Victor winning. It was like golf overload. But at the same time, we can see that tweet and be like, what the fuck? I could be wrong. Don't you just show up somewhere with her and it's like official? Like, isn't that how life works? You show up. I don't know, maybe the master, like, I don't know what his plans are. You just show up and that's like your girlfriend. Like, I feel like Lindsey Vonn was on his arm at a Ryder Cup or President's Cup. Oh, okay, that's official. I don't know. We've maybe spent too much time on it, but it's Tiger fucking Woods. And yeah, again, he might have CTE from his head hitting the bedboard too much 20 years ago.
It's Don Jr.'s ex-wife, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kia's mom. Kai's mom.
I mean, I don't know who that is.
She's a great little golfer.
Oh, okay.
And listen, I only say that there's some like people in like a weird, I shouldn't say weird part of the internet, but
You're part of the internet?
No, there were some like much older gambling Twitter folks who were talking too much about a 17-year-old girl and it went viral.
Yeah, well, it should have gone viral because that's fucking creepy, and people should be like called out for that because that's fucking weird behavior.
Yeah, no, oh, buddy, they still can't escape it. Trust me. So, yeah, just had to make a Kai's mom joke, but yeah, you're like, come on, you're in the circus now, buddy. Privacy on his hammock, those shades. Like, it is, I don't know, it's incredible. It is like horrible and incredible and cringe all in one parlay.
It hit the same game parlay as what you're saying, paid 6-1.
It did.
You put it with Scotty this week. You got a parlay going. Atlanta, Tiger, Scotty. There you go.
But I do believe someone's, the way Jupiter Lynx used their hammer this year, Tiger used his hammer. Like, some people think he might have CTE, but I don't know. I actually am crazy enough to think, though, I don't think that post comes out if JT wins. It comes out on Monday.
Maybe, or maybe it doesn't come out at all. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm now too deep thinking it, but I was like, there's no way. Part of me, after like laughing my ass off and everyone's initial reaction, I'm like, I don't think Tiger would have overshadowed JT's first win in
10 years.
4 years?
10 years, probably. 20, maybe. I'm trying to think the last time.
To remember when Southern Hills was.
Was Southern Hills his last win?
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. So 2022 PGA Championship.
I guess, right? That was the year. What, the year Will Zalatoris did everything and then finally won this FedEx Cup from the Rocks or something.
Yeah, May 22nd, 2022 PGA Championship is his last win. You know, his last win before that was the Players in 2021. Because he went on a run in like 2017, 2018 and won a ton. And he's just been like a periodic winner. Again, this is another hat tip to Rory, by the way. All of these guys come and go, and they win 3-4 times a year. And you're like, oh, these guys are going to be one of the best ever. And then, they win once every 2 years for the next 10 years. Except for Rory, who just wins 3 times a year every year or maybe more.
Golf clap to Rory. You're absolutely right. What we've seen every other golfer in this last decade do should really lift up Rory. Right? From Spieth to Justin to Rick, like just so many guys. No one stayed around like him. Right? Even Brooks had his moment of like, I don't even know if I'm good anymore. So truly, truly incredible. And the Victor win, Pat, the PGA, like, obviously, I do believe the presentation huge problem, and we're not doing this argument. But since the live happened,
Go ahead. Sorry.
Since live happened, the second tier of the and I call them the second tier, just not Scotty and Rory, because there's a clear tier 1 and maybe a 1A, 1B. You could do that whatever you want. Although, depending on what happens this week, we could have a conversation about what the line will be in 2 weeks. Anyhow, it's so like Victor winning. The PGA is so desperate for that second tier of great players to be great. Victor, Cantley, Morikawa, Justin. I'm embarrassed to say, like, the odds boards would say Tommy is in that fucking group, who never wins. The second leg of the PGA Tour has abandoned the tour in terms of winning since live started, and that has just not been good. Like, the supplemental superstars to the freaking super elites have just not delivered.
Well, yes and no to that, because let's just rewind and go the past since the beginning of last year. A lot of that has to do with Scotty winning every time last year.
You're right, but I'll go even 2 years. The second tier of the tour was all on stupid droughts. Like, who would you put in that like wave? Like, Xander got off the mat, but he's maybe in his own.
What I'm saying is that because Scheffler has won so much the past 2 years, not so much this year, obviously, but the 2 years previous to that, and because of the signature events, all the same guys are playing in all the same events. So if Scotty wins them, they're not playing enough of the other events to actually get a win. They're just losing to Scotty every week.
There's nothing you said there that I could argue with in the slightest. So you're right. Like, factually, there's a reason, but optically, it's just optically, I don't think it is good. But you're right. Scotty just hogged all the trophies. All the trophies. A lot of those guys had great second finishes to Scotty. Memorial, Colin, Tommy at the Olympics. Like, he did nothing wrong that day. He was outstanding, but he lost to Scotty. What are you gonna fucking do? Still be still carry the narrative. Anyway, great to see, Vic.
PGA Tour wins right now since the beginning of 2023, January 2023. Who do you think has, if you could list me the top 10 on tour, who has the most? Actually, everyone with more than 2 wins on the PGA Tour since the beginning of 2023. Could you name them all?
Nick Taylor?
Nick Taylor is one of them, correct. He is 5th in the standings of most wins.
Yes. That's an easy one. I'm wearing the Oakdale t-shirt here. Canadian Open. So that came right to mind. Obviously, Scotty and Rory.
Yeah, they're 1 and
Xander.
2. Xander only has 2 wins. He won the 2 majors.
Okay, has Wyndham won 3? Pebble, the U.S. Open, and something else?
And Quail Hollow, so he has 3. Yeah, he's tied with Nick Taylor.
Ludwig's won twice, right?
Ludwig's won twice, so he's not on the list.
Yeah, I'm just running it through.
There's a guy on there's 2. I don't think you'll get the rest of them because they're really, like, you'd really have to rack your brain. Hideki is one of them. He has 3.
Okay, yeah.
Keegan has 3.
Just give me one extra moment, though.
I mean, a guy just won.
Robert McIntyre
has 2. The guy who just won. He has 4 now.
Okay, Victor. Yeah,
Victor has 4.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get the last one because he's not on the PGA Tour. It's Jon Rahm.
Okay, so yeah, winning, and yeah, the tie at 1 is long.
The tie for 2 is like Akshay, Straka, Kirk, Davis Riley,
Ludwig, yeah, Bobby Mack,
Dunlap, Homa, like that crew of people. Riley and one of Riley's wins is the team win he had with Nick Hardy at Zurich, so it's probably a bit much. But
speaking of that, like, Shane Lowry just could not buy a putt. Every time the broadcast almost made it a thing, like, we are going to Shane Lowry, let's watch him burn another edge. Had to be painful if that's where
my money went,
where he ended up. Oh, Victor was so good, Pat. The putting stroke looks so good. The ball strike, like, his finish off the tee, that, like, recoil. Oh my God, he gets me so good. Gives me feels.
Do you have any questions about Pinehurst? I don't know if people actually want to hear about this or not.
Oh.
So I'll do like a quick bit. If people want to hear more about the courses themselves, the experience, maybe I'll do it on the Valero research show. And people can, if you have if you have a question about Pinehurst, put it into the comment section right now on YouTube or Spotify, wherever, and I'll talk you through most of it. But did you have any questions?
I guess my question would be, and maybe it's a silly question.
I got bit by a dog on the course.
Okay, you'll tell me about that in a moment. But relative to like did it match like how your eyeballs like saw it on TV?
Yeah, it did. The one shitty thing was I played my worst round the day that we played number 2 because it was 3-degree weather Celsius, 38 degrees Fahrenheit. So you know me, I don't do well in the cold. So my hands were frozen for about 15 holes, and I just didn't have it that day. It was by far the worst of the 7 rounds that I played. I shot a 98 at number 2.
I'm a delicate flower. I'd have been miserable. Like golf is so hard. Playing it in like obtuse conditions. Yeah, like listen, I'm a polar bear, so it could even be too hot, and I'll be like, I just this. We got a whole summer. We got weeks left. I don't need this. But okay, you got bit by a dog. I can't imagine you reacting well to something like that.
I mean, I was terrified. I did not see the dog. I got bit by a dog. And
like the course dog? Where'd it come from?
So we played number 3, which I would recommend no one ever do. Never play Pinehurst number 3. Very bad. And the course itself was by far the shittiest course of all of them, too. The back 9 wasn't so bad. The front 9 was an absolute travesty. But I hooked a drive down to the left. There's houses all along the course, and there's like there's the fairway, there's like the rough that's not grown in, so you can hit out of it pretty easily. Then there's pine straw, but there's little OB markers by the houses. So if you hit the house, you don't hit from someone's backyard. Makes sense. But there's not fences anywhere. So I'm OB by about 2 yards or something like that. I walk down to it. Like I said, there's no fence or anything. There's just an OB marker. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'll go grab my ball and I'll go drop where I need to drop. No big deal. I go to pick up my ball and a dog just juts out from behind a hot tub and just attaches itself to my hand. I am absolutely shook. The guy that I'm playing with, he's absolutely shook because he doesn't see it either. The other 2 guys just hear me scream because I don't know what's going on, and they're in the middle of the fairway laughing their asses off at me. And I get my ball. Fortunately, he didn't like cling on to me too hard, so I just have like a little bit of like a few teeth marks, but I just had the blood on the golf club, everything like that, and I was like absolutely rattled for a good half hour. I was pretty drunk at the time too, so maybe that like helped ease it down a little bit. But yeah, it was pretty terrifying. Then the ranger, like the marshal comes up. He's like, oh, you can't go over there. That's the dog that bites people. I was like, shouldn't there be a fucking sign for this or something? Like, I don't want to be bitten by a goddamn dog. Like, do I sue the golf club? Like, what's going on? He's like, this is a known thing that this dog bites people. But they don't tell anyone. It's on the left on 13 in case you need to know.
Don't hit it left on 13 of Pinehurst 3.
But isn't that?
But overall,
hold on. Isn't that if there's a dog that bites people on the course, if you just go left, even if I wasn't out of bounds, it still would have come out because the OB it's right there. It's like almost right on the course. So even if you just hit it left, you still would be bitten. You think there'd be like "Beware of dog" sign somewhere, maybe, or they let you know, or is that too much to ask?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like if it's a regular thing, there should be one. There should be 2, maybe. There should be one near the tee box to let you know. And then there should be one like up off like the opposite OB side of like the cart path when you're approaching that housing area. I don't know. That seems pretty fucking sketchy. I don't really have a response to it. I might have been in the fairway dying of laughter watching it from 150 yards away also, though.
Which my playing partners were. I mean, I was able, once my adrenaline wore off, I actually finished very strongly. I think I sobered up a bit after that, too. But, yeah, finished strongly. I made 2 birdies over the final 5 holes. That was nice. And I was beating my playing partners at that time, too, because they were still laughing 4 holes later.
Yeah, I would be as well. I'd love to get there.
Two was awesome. I'd love to have another crack at it, and it was fun just to walk the course. But number 10 is, if you had to play one of those courses, play number 10, the new one. It's awesome. It's amazing.
How many are there now?
There's 10, and they're building 11 out by 10 right now. Oh, the biggest taker of the entire thing, people just brought it up. Like, they have this par 3 called the Cradle that's there. People are like, oh, the Cradle's great. The Cradle fucking sucks. Like, do not play the Cradle. It's useless.
Just a little par 3 little thing.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I just don't like par 3s, but like not of the 8 of us, not one person enjoyed playing the Cradle. I think it would be fun if you were on like a bachelor party and you were just like absolutely gooned and like all you could do was like stumble 90 yards to a hole. Maybe it would be for you. But that wasn't really the vibe of anyone. Not only in my playing group, but anyone like at the course.
I could hear that. Like at the bachelor party, it should be the course you play the morning after, the day after you plan on going the hardest at night, maybe.
Yeah, we played it after we played number 2, like later in that afternoon, because like, hey, we'll try to play as many of these things as possible. But I've yet to go to a par 3 that's like adjacent to really nice courses that I'm like, man, I'm glad I did that. I would have rather taken a nap.
I have very low experience on like par 3 golf. Although my wedge game should probably do it more.
Oh, I always forget because I hadn't been to Florida. I don't think I've been to Florida since the DFS Open. I noticed it there on those Bermuda greens, but this was like they haven't grown in yet at Pinehurst, and I don't think they have a lot of like big rough anyway. But the Bermuda there, like I think I chunked maybe 30 wedges from 100 yards and in all week. Like I can't figure out how to hit a wedge off that turf. It's impossible. I don't know how people do it.
Usually takes a few rounds on the Bermuda to even like figure at least like the rough and the sponge compared to like we play on this like Kentucky bluegrass almost.
Yeah, like it's not
up
even
here in Canada.
It's not even that it sits up. Like ours is like my club is like bent greens, but it has like POA fairways, and you can get down into them because they're well manicured. You can't get down into these. It took me 2 rounds to figure out how to chip because I'm used to opening up my club face, like digging down at the ball, getting it straight up. My club would just hit the ground and bounce.
I'll say for me though, Pat, like I'm starting to maybe think like my semi season is about to get going. Like we're here in end of March, see me stretching the shoulders. Like I have not touched a club. Even in Scottsdale, I didn't touch a club. I was there for a week with 3 kids. I don't know. It's just golf season's going to be soon. I'm getting going. But I don't know. YouTube or my algos have been feeding me these videos on this brand new ping bunker club. It's like a specialty bunker club, and I am just not good in the sand. And I watch these people play, these videos, and they make it look great, and I'm so tempted, and it hasn't even come out yet. It comes out at the end of the month. It's gonna be like over, $225 or something, maybe more for this thing. But the way people were talking about it, it sounded like it's Ozempic for bad bunker players. So I might have to for an extra $70, I think if it actually is a cheat code, I don't even know if that's possible, then I think I have to buy it. Yeah. So there, my brain is getting to playing golf.
I don't understand. How could it be a cheat club for the bunker? Like, isn't just like turning your face open a cheat club in the bunker?
Yeah, no, you can line up straight to it. You'd think I would have known the details, but I was just watching people review the club and say it was great. I don't know what makes it specifically easier for the bunker. I'm not I wasn't in tuned on the ingredients. I was more in tuned of the people demoing it, if they liked it. And it's, I don't know, ball just it's got a thick sole and an extra curvy face. I can send you a link, but now I'm probably just boring people.
Well, I can probably watch it on Golf Channel. RFK Jr. is banning all pharmaceutical ads apparently for TV, so there's a lot of inventory at Golf Channel coming up.
I mean, that would be a disaster.
Would they go out of business? Could you have Golf Channel if you couldn't sell dick pill ads?
If you couldn't sell the dicks and the blood pressure stuff,
A lot of a lot of reverse mortgages in our future. A lot of Tom Selleck commercials.
A lot of Tom Selleck.
Like, can I?
I don't
like. Will rates be so low I can advertise this show on Golf Channel? Because that'd be a coup for us.
I'm not sure. I'm now trying to.
It's okay. We can see the commercial in a bit. Maybe you can link it out on Twitter later if people are truly curious about that. Number 10, number 2, you have to play it. It was fun to walk. We had a caddy for that round. We had a caddy for 10 too. Didn't enjoy having the caddies. Although our caddy for the second round was actually quite good at number 10. I just played better when I didn't have the caddy that I was able to. They were reading the putts better than I was, but there's something about like walking up to my ball, doing like going around, figuring out the pace that I just putt better when someone's not telling me exactly where to putt.
I mean, I love a caddy, but it feels awkward to me.
It's not so much awkward, and like I have to defer to the guy. Clearly, he knows the course. Clearly, he's better at golf than I am. What am I going to tell him? Nothing. But there's something about like the feel of playing. It's always like how I play better when I walk rather than when I take a cart. Just inherently, I'm 5 strokes better when I walk.
Sometimes one of the best days of golf I have of the year are the days where like me and my buddy will bet. And the loser has, like, the next time we play, we're taking caddies, and the loser of this time has to pay.
Okay, I like that.
Which is always a really fun day. It's more fun than playing with the actual caddies. And I don't know. I just find it like paying a guy to like schlep my clubs around. I don't know. I always just feel awkward about it, even though like it's a golf thing, and I shouldn't. I don't know. I don't know. There.
Yeah,
said too much.
It's hard to lose a ball at Pinehurst, as I figured out. Brought way too many balls. I lost like 3 balls the entire trip.
Why? There's just no like pure just run off, like it's just runoff areas, right?
Yeah, well, unless like a dog attacks you while you're trying to get your ball, you can find it. But there's very little water anywhere. I found one water trap on like the first day on number 8, but other than that, like you hit it into these giant trees that are super high, and it's just pine straw in there everywhere. They do a good. We saw a guy. His entire job was going around picking up pine cones from inside the wood, so you could find your ball easier. Just no matter where it went, it was playable. It might have been like a play out sideways, but there was always like the trees aren't. Like at my course, the trees are so close together that if the ball is in the woods, like you are dead. Like you're probably not even going to find it, but it's certainly not playable by any means. Here, like the trees are so spread out that there's always a path to go in, find it, and actually play a shot out, which is really nice, but very difficult to probably keep up with the entire time. They told me there's only 11 ground screw people for number 2.
Like as if only 11 people are trained properly enough to let their hands touch the course?
No, like only 11 people like are serviced to work on it. They all don't work every day. Like it takes care of itself.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I comprehended that incorrectly. I love that. Yeah, just they let it. It's like natural habitat. It requires very light maintenance. Pine cone pickers.
Pine cone pickers are it, but I think those are just for all of the courses all around. And there were fewer pine cones on number 2 because it has more of that wiregrass area than any of the other courses do.
And what about the bunkers? I know like you maybe got them like a little wet, but
well, they dried.
I've been in them all day.
We only got to play 9 holes of our second round on Thursday because we did get rained out, and it like. If there's one thing I enjoy less than cold, it's the rain. And it was windy, and it was probably like 17 degrees, which is what, like 65 or something. But with the wind and the rain, it felt like it was freezing out. And not only was I miserable that entire time, all of us ended up becoming miserable, except for one guy who was playing great in the pouring rain. He decided, like, we all quit after 9. We went to the bar, and he's like, I'm going back out to finish my round. I'm playing too well right now. And he did. He went in and played solo. Only took him like an hour. But yeah, that wasn't all that fun, but I'd say 10 was the best. 2 was an experience, but 8 and 4 were awesome as well. And 1 we played on like our final round of the final day. It's like it probably had the best greens of the entire place, but it's just you can tell it's probably like a 120-year-old course or something like that. It just feels very old.
Nice. And like you're overall happy, you'd want to go back?
Yeah, I'd go back. The service is fucking slow, man. Oh my god. It's incredible. Like we had to book like there's like as a part of our package we had dinners at like the main place and there's like another like high-end steakhouse and that kind of thing. They were both 4-hour dinners because just there's no service whatsoever. I don't know if it's like a southern thing where they want you to take your time, but we just played 36 holes and we were fucking starving and getting fucking mad.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I can relate.
Like I'm here. I just want to get it done. But it was pretty cool overall. I'd recommend everyone go do it. Have you noticed how Pat Mayo seems a whole lot better rested recently? It's no secret. I got my old mattress, took it outside, threw it in the trash the moment my Helix mattress showed up. My wife and I took the quiz on helixsleep.com. We went through everything and we decided the firmness. We wanted the temperature, how we actually sleep. And all of a sudden, the mattress shows up, we lay down, and I'm not having a lot of the sleep problems that I've been having in the past. I just wake up 50 times a night. Not no more with my Helix mattress. I was sleeping on my side with my head underneath my pillow, and I was getting chicken wing for when I woke up, and my back and my shoulders were sore because there was a divot inside my old mattress where I've been sleeping on it so long. Now, all of that has gone. It's been such an upgrade with my Helix mattress that I'm getting full sleep, and even my Apple Watch is telling me that I'm getting a far more full sleep this time. I'm not hitting 54% on my sleep cycle anymore. Now I'm up at like 90%, even 100% some nights. So hopefully this can help you out as well. And you can go to helixsleep.com/PatMayo for the March Madness sale, which is 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/PatMayo for 20% off site-wide. helixsleep.com/PatMayo. Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi, golf's newest league. It's sharp, and it's electric. 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime force, and playoffs on the line golf with 24 of the best players from the PGA Tour. The championship is here. Match 1, Monday, March 24th. The top 2 seeds face off, 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus. Match 2 is Tuesday, March 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus. Tune in to catch all the TGL playoff action. Keep up. It's golf. Let's move on to the Houston Open, though. This week, it's the Rory Scotty show. I was surprised that Rory showed up. Paul pointed it out to me earlier, and I forgot to mention this on the research show from earlier in the week, that with so many shaved off areas, there's very little rough, especially at this time of year because everything's dormant in Houston in terms of the Bermuda, that this is probably the closest you're going to get to simulate what Augusta is going to be like for some of the shots. Obviously, the greens aren't going to be the same. They're not as fast. They're not as sloped. There's not as much undulation. But around the green, I think it's actually good practice for a lot of these guys.
Absolutely true. They've Augustified the course. It is their gesture to the tour, to the players. As many of you come as possible, there will be no other place to get competitive reps. As we do our best to simulate certain Augusta situations. Obviously, there's only so much they can do, but I think Rory coming here signifies just almost by word of mouth how good of a job they do in simulating what you are talking about, Pat. Like you, I remember like seeing the notice on the internet that, oh, Rory committed to Houston, but I totally spaced on it. So when I see that field, or I just see the odds board Sunday night, it like smacked me across the face. They're both here. They're both here. I got to bet into both of them. Oh, it was such a demoralizing feeling. Having to go against, as an outright bettor, they're like a monster. They join forces. They become one person almost. If you're trying to attack an outright board, you have to beat them. I have no interest in playing the without markets. But my question to you, long-winded, so what, like Rory will be experimenting around the greens? Like he might be doing things that are suboptimal to scoring? Exactly. I don't really believe any shot is going to
I don't think that
be the most optimal.
What I say is I don't think that people are going to simulate shots from Augusta. I just think that if you miss a green, it is simulate. Like he's not going to hit 72 greens in regulation. So when he gets his chipping practice in and gets to see the elevated greens, getting the ball up off the closely mown turf rather than from the rough, I just think that's It's just good. Like, this course is just good practice for some of the shots that you're going to play at Augusta naturally. It's not like people are going out of their way. I remember people used to say that about Phil because he used to play the week before when I think it was the Shell Houston. And they used to have their shaved runoff areas for that. They're like, oh, well, Phil's just out there to practice for Augusta. Then he goes out and wins. It's like, well, you can practice for Augusta by hitting good shots, too. It's not like he's intentionally missing short so he can chip from over there.
I agree. It's not like he's not trying to optimally play the hole for the best score he can make in that moment as well. On that note, though, Pat, like we're talking about Augusta prep, how good this could be, or the simulation. Trump Doral, that's still in Florida, right?
Yep.
Bermuda grass?
They did not move the course. That is correct.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's Bermuda.
Seems like a very awkward place to prepare for Augusta, but good on them.
Yes and no. It's hard. I think that's probably the key to that. I mean, there's different ways that you can prep for major season, and we're going to start. Masters coverage will begin next week, and I have a very special giveaway from a very special new sponsor on the show, which includes the Pat Mayo Open Experience, Jeff. It's tickets to the live show in June, tickets to the Canadian Open, hotels and flights to Toronto as well.
Woo-wee!
So more on that. Starting at the Valero next week. Shout out to our good friends at CoolBet for that. But I have a Masters pool set up for everyone as well. Just more details on that to come. I'm very excited to have the full details announced over that. But I just think difficult courses like Doral do prep you. I remember the year that Willett won the Masters, I think he was third at Doral. Obviously, DJ has had some good run, won at Doral. Patrick Reed has won at Doral when they were on the PGA Tour. So I don't think that. I think just playing difficult courses, and Memorial Park, it's a 7,500-yard course. It's a par 70. It's a hard course. This is one of the harder courses the players are going to have this year.
It was great. You saw the scoring from last year. This time of year, it can present some challenges. And truth be told, I am actually looking forward to seeing some of those guys play Doral, like irrelevant to what the next week is. Obviously, for some of them, be watching, hoping they're showing some serious life, like a Rombo. But
no, it's Sergio. If people watch our Masters Future shows, we need Sergio to continue to play well.
Sure, but yes. I mean, I don't have the future, but I clearly see what Sergio has been up to. I got no stone to throw on that. I don't even remember. Oh yeah, I was talking about Doral. Valero Doral next week should be like a lot of golf coming up. And it's Masters. We're out of Florida. Let's fucking go. Florida was not kind to me. Florida was
I guess Puerto Rico happened while Florida was going on, so it was really kind to me. And I just did win like $6,000 yesterday too, so that's pretty helpful when it comes down to it. But at the top of the board, you got Scotty at 4, Rory at 7. I've seen Rory as high as 7.5. That's actually at CoolBet right now, if you want to go check that out. But do you plan on betting either of them? And should Rory be more than double what Scotty is right now?
Probably not. So, I mean, there are multiple angles I'd like to ask you about here. One, Pat, would be the odds relative to Augusta for Rory. Like 7-1 to win Houston, 7-1 to win the Masters. Aaron Ride's the third best player in the field on the odds board, followed by Tony Finau.
Is that not the case at Augusta? Is Aaron Ride not the third best player in the field?
No.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, like you said when we were talking about Victor, I'm not saying it's the reason to bet Rory, but like you can learn a lot from their odds sometimes in the majors relative to the events at hand. Maybe the other question that I actually want to ask more to you is, what is the scenario this week where they go off Scotty and Rory tied at the top next week?
Well, Rory would have to win this week, I think. Like, no matter what Scheffler does, I don't think he's dropping back unless he hurts himself this week. And I guess if he misses the cut, I wouldn't expect him to miss the cut because he's Scotty Scheffler. But if he does, then maybe. But even if Rory wins, I still don't think that he'd be ahead of Scheffler on the odds board.
Would it be tied? It might be tied, though.
It might be tied because you're going to get a groundswell. Like, Rory's won 3 times. He's never done that before the Masters. This is his year. He's going to win. People want, as much as there's like that anti-Rory hate out there, people still want Rory to win. Like, all of the Rory hate, I feel like it goes away if he just wins a major.
Yeah, for sure. But even the Rory haters kind of want him to be there and not win. Like the true Rory haters almost want him to see him there and then like not come through, if that makes any sense. I want to see him get through. I desperately, yeah, I mean, oh, it would be so magical if he could do it.
I agree. I mean, it'd be a really great story. And if Rory wins the Masters, I don't want to say it's the death knell to live, but it feels like that's a real hammer down on them. Because it'll rate.
But
well.
let me ask you this question: if
Rory wins at the Masters, it'll rate well, and then all of a sudden, like all the talk about the merger, everything like that. If Rory gets this and Rory becomes the best player in the world again after staying on the PGA Tour, I feel like it's a big win for the PGA.
I think every time Rory plays great, seemingly in these moments, feels like the best thing possible for the PGA. I mean, we do this a lot. I guess Spieth could be right there.
But Spieth's not there. Rory's close to actually doing this. Spieth feels
Yes.
a million miles away.
No, of course. I meant just in terms of like how like the public consciousness would be reacting on Sunday if one of them is like truly in that fight. I mean, for me, it's not even close. Like Rory times a million. I'd rather see win a Masters than Spieth get another one.
Are you going to bet Rory then?
No. I'm scared. I'm deathly afraid of it. I hope I can keep. So like, if I love some bets, I'm not afraid to like exposure up. But as we still sit here, almost lighter exposure. I'm so afraid of the guys at the top. We got a major in a couple weeks. I mean, I'm not afraid to lose extra money on the tournament. I just need I need reasons to want to bet guys. And honestly, outside of two that I've made, it's hard for me.
Just found a handicap betting type thing. Oh, it's just it's them against a number. So you can bet someone to be like Dietrich, 7 under or better is 11-1. Maybe these are the markets to play this week.
Dietrich 7 under or better. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it's under special markets on 365. I think I'm reading that correctly. Either way. So we're not going to them. Let's go to the next part of the board. Can you recall a week ever where there's two guys in the single digits odds and then the next closest guy is 30-1?
No.
I can't either.
I can't. I'm trying to like think of even like a Tiger Phil heyday. I don't think the next guy would have been 30, but I wasn't really betting then, so I can't speak to it.
So what we're looking at now, you mentioned him, Aaron Rye is next on the odds board. He's 28, JJ Spawn's 33, Davis Thompson and Finau are 35. Day, our guy, Michael Kim, who I believe is coming on the show next week. And he needs a top 20 in this event to qualify for the Masters, I believe what it boils down to. So shout out Michael Kim. I hope you not only win this tournament, but just come inside the top 20, get yourself into Augusta. We'll talk to you next week. Minwoo Lee is right there as well. So is Siwoo Kim, Pendrith. They're all 40-1. So that's the 30-40. They've jammed everyone into this range. I don't say this often, but I actually really like Minwoo at this course.
I mean, that's one of my two bets. I bet it yesterday on Rivers at 45. He succeeded. He succeeded in Florida on courses that aren't like he missed the cut, I think, at Bay Hill. But Florida does not work for his driver.
Okay, you say that though, and we go back and we start looking at where his best finishes have come so far this season. PGA National, he was 11th. That's, it's not a short course, but it's a shorter course. Same as Sawgrass, comes in 20th. Pebble Beach comes in 17th. When we get him at Torrey Pines or Bay Hill, the guy can't do anything. But at least here you can drive it wherever you want. Like, you're not really penalized at all for missing fairways. And they're huge fairways.
I mean, this is, like you said, this just screams like lovely Minwoo course fit. I also, no secret to our listeners, I've got a bit of a hard-on for the guy. So I am like biased. In a crazy world, it'd be hard with the resume, but in my head, like I could convince myself, which is part of betting on golf, convincing yourself of something. This is the third best player in the field.
Ooh, that's an interesting discussion. Wyndham Clark is probably the third best player in this field.
Yeah. Okay, now that you say the name, and he's actually one of like you did the list of golfers with wins. Like I'm not really resume. I can't. I don't have a. I don't even have a thumbnail to stand on to fight back on that. So I'll have to accept that. You're right.
He is coming off a neck injury, however, so maybe he's not 100%. He had to miss the TGL semifinals. He's 33-1 in this field. Day is 33. I kind of can see where Day is coming from here. He plays these longer courses really well now. He's won a bunch.
Did he win here?
Yeah, he didn't win here. He won.
What did he win? Byron Nelson, then, right?
There you go. He's won in Texas a few times. Finau is the really interesting one here. So last year was the first year that this tournament was held in the end of March. Previous to that, the previous 4 years, it was held in November during the swing season. Finau picked himself up a win at this course. And even last year, tee to green, no one was better than Tony in this field, and he just could not putt. Nothing new for Tony Finau, and his game is not quite as sharp as it was coming into this a year ago, but I think those are pretty fair odds for him right now, who hasn't been terrible. He's not like, I mean, Victor just won, so it doesn't really matter what your form is going to be. But even coming into this, it's not like his form is out of control bad. It's just really inconsistent. Like, he was horrible at the Players. Guys are horrible at the Players. He was good at API until the final round when I think he shot like a 79 or something like that. But he was 5th at Torrey Pines. He was 13th at Pebble Beach. I could see him doing pretty well here. Last year, he was 2nd. The year before that, he was 1st. The tee to green, gained over 10 strokes tee to green in both of those events. I feel like he's the shot at 33 if you're going to take one.
Yeah, and hopefully maybe there's something even a little bigger out there. When I first looked at the board, I knew I was going to bet Minwoo Lee. And I pretty much figured I will bet someone else in this like mid spot and then pretty much
throw some darts.
Yeah, throw some darts. So this like range of Day, Finau, Thompson, Lee. I mean, I'm already in on Lee, Wyndham. If like you just want to play the seat, like not ignore, but if you're gonna bet him, you're just going up against like coming off the injury, but I could respect betting him and being like, I don't care about that. 40-1, this field guy wins. It's a course fit. So I will be making like another bet right here around those guys to supplement Minwoo and something in front of 100, and then like time to launch grenades. Got caught like try to get cocky and call my shot in the middle, and then throw some bombs, but do it responsibly because I'm a pussy and I am so afraid. It's so weird, Pat. At the Masters, I will like overbet to an extreme, probably irresponsibly. Like I'll own that. It's my hobby. I don't have other ones, and major golf hobby can be expensive. That's how I defend it in my brain. But like, I'm not afraid to step in front of those guys at the Masters, but here I am. Like I just am, and I don't know. It's easier for them to even win the Masters than here in some respects. Just like field size, a little different. Anyhow, I don't know if I'm making sense anymore, but in a way, I'm so afraid to bet this week, but I'm going to over bet against even better players at the Masters. Figure that out.
So Minwoo for sure. I'll get in on Minwoo at 40. I'll get in on Finau at it's the best Finau number I can find. 33.
Was Day hurt? Day played since he was hurt, or he withdrew Sawgrass, right?
He was sick at Sawgrass.
Oh,
sick of playing.
That's true. Because there were internet videos of him on the Tuesday or Wednesday after Sawgrass playing Sawgrass.
Yeah,
So,
I think you wake up with the shits or something like that. What are you going to do?
Yeah, no, I get it. Like, if you're Jason Day, grinding out a cut isn't worth as much as the potential outcome of like shitting yourself at the Players in front of people.
He already has a Players Championship to his name, so he should be fine on that. So those are the two. I'll give Wyndham Clark. I was going to give Siwoo another look as well. He's playing some pretty solid golf, but this course just seems like a lot for a guy who doesn't hit it that far. Like, you need to be so... Bhatia was able to do it last year. He ended up coming in 11th, but he was right there towards the end. But eventually it just caught up to him that you're just not hitting your clubs from 200 yards with precision every single time. Then it's up to your short game. Doesn't have a great short game. Siwoo does have a great short game, so he can bail himself out that way. I always like him at some of the more difficult courses, but I think if you go back and look at all of Siwoo's wins in his life, I don't think he's ever won at what we would call a long course. They're all the short courses.
Yeah. I'd rather bet like Tim's boy Bridgeman
I
than
would,
I think Siwoo
I
here.
would, I would. No, that is crazy talk. No, no, thank you.
Or even Jaeger. I
You hit
I was so
Jaeger.
bad last year, Pat. I hit the Texas double. Jaeger into Batia. It was like the only bright spot of my entire golf betting calendar a year ago, other than like some Hideki hits bordering early and late. I did nothing. So yeah, Jaeger played quite strong last week for a bit, but there are two guys between 50 and 100 that I'm eyeing up.
All right, I like the rest of the world have already bet Davis Riley again. He helped me have a winning betting week last week. He hit his top 8. He came solo 7th, so those were big odds. Now his number's been cut again. Won in Texas a year ago. Is playing tremendous golf coming in. If he had just putted okay last week, like slightly above average, he wins Valspar because I believe he led everyone tee to green and lost strokes putting. I think he was the only guy inside the top 10 who did bleed strokes on the green. So I bet on him. I took 8 places, so I got him at 75 to 1, and I believe there was a 250 on him out earlier when they opened up the odds, but obviously I was away. I couldn't get that, but even at 75 with 8 places, I was still good with it, so I took it. So I'm in on Davis Riley.
Okay. That's a little further back than I was thinking, but I guess with the 8 places right in that zone. I mean, you could just put a sucker label on my forehead because the guy has lost it a bit at the moment. But like I can get Taylor Pendrith on this golf course at 60 to 1. I think I'm gonna bet that.
Would you rather have him or like McNeely? McNeely keeps shooting 80 every second round, so that's a tough scene for him. But you have McNeely, Thigala, Dietrich, and Pendrith all in the same range. And weirdly enough, Smalley is playing the best of all of those names that I mentioned.
Smalley is playing well.
Like, do you want to bet Smalley at 55 to 1 though?
I can't bet Smalley, but I don't know if I want to say why.
I mean, he just did miss the cut at Valspar, so.
Yeah, I'm a psychopath, and it's got nothing to do with anything like that.
Does it have to do with his wardrobe?
Close.
Honestly,
Oh,
I would rather use my bullets down the list for guys who I can get placement points with. So like with Riley, like the only one I really gave some credence to was, do I really want to go in on Thigala? He's just not playing that well right now, but he kind of fits the theory. Then I'll probably just keep scrolling down the list. You know, Davis Riley, who I'm in on, is there. I'll probably go with Nikolai again. This is a course where your driver doesn't need to be super sharp. That's usually
like
better.
that one.
That's usually better for him. Vic Perez is playing really good golf right now.
One.
I'll probably be out on him. Your boy Carlton Fisk from last week. I'm going to bet that guy. Kevin Yu, I bet last week. If that dude could have just made a putt, he's right there as well. I had the top 8 on him. He missed it by a stroke. That sucked. But I have no reason not to go back to him again this week. He's good.
So you said a lot of guys. Perez, Nikolai, I think and Fisk. Fisk, who I gotta own this. Like, I don't think I even knew who he was.
Stephen Fisk, if
2
people
weeks
are
ago.
really wondering who he is.
And I bet him last week at like 250 to 1. He ended up as a bomb on my card. And he had a horrific first round. But other than that, I'm impressed enough to want to go back. Perez, Fisk, and Nikolai are bombs I plan on throwing. I'm almost certain of it, at least with Perez. But stepping in front of 100 quickly, sort of like Pendrith. Like,
why?
So guy was No, sorry. Why do I like Pendrith?
Yeah.
He gained 6 strokes with the putter last week. He'd been like totally abysmal for like a month and a half. He's a good putter. He obviously found something at last week. The players off the tee, Canadians in Texas.
Is that a thing? Hold on. Is Canadians in Texas a thing?
No, just Corey Connors wins the Valero.
Hey, babe, that was a joke. Look, Taylor Pendrith won in Texas last year too. He won the Byron Nelson.
So yeah, Canadians in Texas. I off the tee, the putter. It's kind of. I mean, maybe you're going to tell me he's a way more consistent approach player, but it's the driver putter combo that holds for me. It's a lot of the same reasons I'm betting Minwoo, minus I can actually trust Pendrith to hit some approaches.
You can somewhat trust Pendrith to hit some approaches. You can kind of swing it back the other way. I trust Minwoo more to get it up and down, at this course where I do not trust Pendrith to get it up and down. He is horrendous around the greens. He may be worse than Corey Connors around the greens.
It's killing him. If you the around the green and the putting the last like month has just been a disaster.
And I'm
for Pendrith.
and I'm with you that historically his putting has been quite good, and he did gain the 6 strokes to the Players. That's encouraging to see. It's his first time gaining all season. Maybe that sets him back off on the path that he used to be on. But he's never been good around the greens. Like, he will actively chip himself out of tournaments, and at a tournament where you need to get it up and down, that is tough.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you a little further back here. 75-1 still available on a player that I think I'm planning on betting, Pat. When I want to make an outright bet, I can convince myself any way I want. It's just like the monster mind games that we play. We talk about that often. I am capable of like literally not giving a fuck about the players. It is such a volatile course. I can just like write it off. If you got your ass kicked there, I can like forget it. It doesn't even exist. I'd almost want to run the model without it even in there because I think it unfairly distorts. It's got me on Max Gracerman.
Okay.
75-1. Like just the stats out of the players, like he lost 7 strokes on approach, 9 tee to green. It was just like a horrific thing. I don't even know what the scores were. I don't even care to look. But the guy has just been playing really solid, consistent golf for quite some time. So I think there's been a bit of a dip on his number, and I think 75-1 is pretty freaking fair.
I can get behind that. He has not had his consistent game that we have seen from him over the past 2 months or so. It wasn't just the Players where he was bad, but even taking a look back at this tournament a year ago, this is when he kind of started taking off a little bit. Notched a top 10, got the T7. Obviously, the slew of second place finishes for him. He's long enough, he chips, he putts. He's weirdly a lot like Min-Woo Lee when you take a look at his stats. But he putts better.
If that's the lane I'm picking, then I'm happy to drive through it.
Okay.
That's the lane I want then.
It's not a bad sell job. Good SJ on that one. I wasn't even thinking about Gracerman.
Yeah, it just feels like he's kind of been forgotten about, but he was a guy that I don't think we ever actually put him on cards, but we always, thought about it. He was like 40-1 for a bit.
He was 40-1 in elevated events 2 months ago. Now he's 80-1 in this field.
Exactly.
Same number as Vic.
And I could laugh making the same point because I was part of the problem, although I got in early and got like a 55. I'm pretty sure Pendrith went off at the Jenny at like 33 or something, like insane. So let's get our dip. You're right though. Around Pendrith, maybe I should be looking at like a Thigala, not like going full Victor, but like I know this guy's amazing. I can bet an outright to trust him at maybe this golf course. I hadn't really thought about him yet, and you mentioned him briefly. And I'm not he hasn't achieved anything that Victor's achieved, but I am a believer in the ceiling, so I think this place can actually work.
I was looking at Nick Dunlap as well. Over his past 5 starts, he's averaging -6 strokes gained off the tee. Average.
That is insane.
Yeah, it's very bad. He cannot drive the ball whatsoever. Still going a long ways. It's just out of bounds.
Staying in that Gracerman range, you might have been on him last week, Taylor Moore.
I was not on Taylor. I was on Taylor Moore here last year. He came second. And I believe he was the first round leader here a year ago as well.
Missed the cut, but at Valspar, but I don't mind that, like 66, 70-1.
Well, I mean, what would you rather? And this is where I'm getting into it right now, because obviously I'm going to take a whole bunch of guys from down the list. I'm going to try to play the placings on them and hopefully sneak a win out, and just hopefully they have a great putting week. So I'm in on Davis Riley. I'll be in on, I haven't bet on Finau yet, so maybe I just leave him off and just take all these guys. But I'm in on Min-Woo at 40 with you. But between like Kevin Yu, Nikolai Højgaard, Victor Perez, do you like Gracerman and Taylor Moore more than those guys? Because Taylor Moore is, again, from the Min-Woo school of, I'll drive it, I'll chip it, I'll putt it, don't know what I'm doing with my irons.
Yeah, I might be in that HOV lane on the highway.
I like that you've picked a lane, though. I think that's a smart way to do it. Like, you're almost doing the Raza stack of players. Like, this is the skill set that I think wins. If you're not Scotty or Rory, I'm going to stick to this. Weirdly enough, Jason Day is kind of like that, too.
I saw day 45, and then Ben Coley touted him this morning, and I've seen the number drop. But I really like Jason Day. I don't know if he'll get there on the win though. Who do you like? If you like Finau more than Day?
I do, yeah. Here I do.
Yeah. We got Day. I mean, Day's another one. We didn't make the bet, but just sort of like seemed like one of the very few palatable Masters bets to make right now. The 100 on Day. You'd mentioned I thought that was a great. I didn't move on it yet, but I thought that was a good shout from the show we did earlier this week.
Yeah, I honestly thought that was the best show that we've done all year was Monday's show. A lot of people,
Maybe.
well, there's a lot of new people who are new to the show this year. I mean, it seemed like because we've been around forever that you forget that there's new people watching all the time who had never seen Cust before because they only watch golf shows. They don't watch the football shows, and they were like disgusted with what Tim had to say about golf. Like, you can't have this guy on. He's not an expert.
Love that. I love that a lot. I guess like moving just back up quickly because you mentioned Day and Finau again. Sort of right in that range. I don't think paying up even a slight bit more for Davis Thompson is crazy.
He has not been hitting his irons well, although we know that he can do that. I kind of agree with you. I gave him a very hard look. Minwoo was the only one that really stuck out to me, almost based on exactly the same thing that you said. Like, this is the path here that you can get away with. It's the Taylor Moore path, and Minwoo's better than Taylor Moore. Maybe he can make this work.
I don't know if I want to just bet him at that number. It'd be like cocky trying to call the shot, but even Aaron Rye, like I don't want to bet him on, I don't want to bet him at 20. I guess there's some 30s out there. He's perfect this week.
I don't know if he putts enough. He's not long off the tee at all.
So clean. Clean. Keeps the clubs clean.
Keeps the clubs clean, and when he misses greens, he's going to be able to get it up and down. Whether or not he makes the 4-foot putt, I don't know. But even with his long irons, he's still quite good. We've seen him play well at some of these longer courses as well, and that's not something you typically think about someone who's well below average in driving distance.
What is the Kevin Yu number you got there?
I see an 8. I mean, if you just want to bet him outright, it's 90. But if you want to take the placings, I believe it's 75.
And then on a Fantasy National, he's Chun and Yu.
He is, yes. Not sure why.
We're authentic. We keep it authentic. We keep it authentic.
I mean,
his finishes, despite not being able to hit a fucking putt, are actually quite remarkable.
He's great.
Opening up his grid here.
Well, just take a look at some of these past winners of this event. Like, how would you describe Tony Finau? What is he great at? What is he bad at?
Yep. It's obvious. Mashes, can't putt. Yeah.
How about Jason Kokrak, another winner here?
Jesus, yeah. Yeah, add it to the list.
Yeah, and Lanto won here. Carlos Ortiz, another one who's won here.
Yeah, you could be onto something with this guy.
The chipping needs to be better. They both need to be good in order to win here, as Finau showed. If you bleed strokes on the green, you're just simply not going to win. But if you can just tread water a little bit and your chipping is very good and you're not your chipping here has to be so good and you have to understand these green complexes so well and be able to chip off those tight surfaces that you're leaving yourself with 6-foot par putts, not 21-foot par putts. And hopefully you make the 6-footers. That's what it boils down to.
He might not have it in him.
He might not. I mean, he does have a win. He won at Sanderson Farms. That's why I bet him last week. The Sanderson Farms correlation between that and Valspar. But I'm probably going to be in on Kevin Yu. Let's move to 100 to 1 and beyond, though. Because I do have some names down here. I'm going to take some shots here. Here's who I got. I got your boy Steven Fisk. I'm going to bet him. I'm going to play all these guys as first round leader as well. So Fisk is 150 to 1. Play that with 8 places. I'm going to bet Ryan Fox, who's starting to sneakily play a lot better. He's 175 to 1 with 8 places. And you want to talk about like the Min Woo formula? Ryan Fox does that as well. He drives, he chips, he putts. Not so hot with the irons. And then the guy who came second place last year, not on a heater right now, but in terms of the key stats, when I did the modeling out, is 4th of all players over the past, just behind Scotty. Toasty! 200 to 1, man.
Oh, I'll ride. I will ride. I didn't thought about it. This course feels like he could fuck here pretty good.
He just anything long he's good at for a guy who's 5'4".
Can I? Now this could just be like a byproduct of seeing him hit like 2 shots that made it on TV last week, which ended up being good. Matty Schmid, 170. Does he hit it long enough?
He does hit it long enough. He made me look kind of
He's
stupid.
got some. It's miscuts around decent results.
He does, and he made me look really stupid in the head-to-head that I took him versus Jagger at the Players for top German.
Oh, right. 18 cognizant, 6 at Puerto Rico, MC at the Players. I don't give a fuck. 28 at Valspar, sneaky. 25 at Farmers. Miscuts everywhere else though.
Yeah, 21st here a year ago as well. I mean, he's basically all driving, all putting if he gets it rolling. Like he has those spike putting weeks. I can see it. I have said, as you like to say, I have my own losers I'm going to lose money on from this range. Yeah. He can be yours.
Yeah, no, exactly. You bet your own losers. You don't need to add on someone else's. You mentioned a few of them that I think I'm bringing home with me this week, though. Fisk, Perez, Nikolai. That hat trick of guys I actually want to bet.
Do you think I should bet Finau? I have room for it. That's not a problem.
I mean, I got room for anything still, other than those first 2 guys. Because really, right now I'm working on with Minwoo, Pendrith, Gracerman. I think I'm going to swim again in 40 and 50, and then I'm just chucking over 100 after those 4. Finau. I'm thinking about it too. Finau Day, Wyndham, they're all swimming in my mind still.
So I can use my 30% multiplier on that as well. Let's do that. Easy stuff.
They,
right.
You know, last week they didn't give it.
I was gone, so I didn't see it. I'm using
they didn't give it.
Yeah, but CoolBet's giving the 30% multiplier now.
Oh, good. Quality
establishment. Now that they're, I've part of the deal with them is that we're revamping like the golf part of the site and like really making that an emphasis. So I'm gonna have some cool stuff up there at CoolBet pretty soon for the betting odds. So.
I'm a big fan. I don't have a bad thing to say. I always enjoyed my experiences betting on that, betting there, and they left on Ontario. But anywhere if you have access to CoolBet, I encourage you to play there because I think it's a great site, and their mascot's a polar bear, and I'm a polar bear, so we vibe like that.
I got some gear for people too if they want that. Yeah, it's a Canadian book outside of Ontario, in case you are wondering. But I should have my Masters PDF like prize pool if you want to print it out, available for everyone who wants to use that, regardless of where you are. Because that's one thing I talked to them about. I was like, people love Masters pools, like just by and large. Just click the name next to it. You can print them off, bring them in wherever. I feel like there's not enough places that just offer that as a service to people. So I was like, you guys should offer that as a service because I want to play it. I mean, I don't work in an office anymore, but when I did, remember when we worked at Fantasy, how difficult it, like March Madness bracket, no problem. There's a billion places that have it. You want a Masters pool? Like you need to like go to the weirdest parts of the internet in order to find that.
I would agree. I also got lost in someone's numbers here.
Was it Ricky Castillo? Because I want that guy to be good. His chain game is out of control. I love it.
Yeah, big fan. Well, he's got like the little seashell shell necklace. It's hard to tell what that is. Maybe it's a chain. Maybe I'm an idiot. If you think that Detry like found something last week,
did he?
I think him at his like 50-60 number also needs to be swam around.
Yeah, I liked him a little bit last week. Yeah, he didn't quite have it off the tee. He did pretty well at T22. It's not bad. I do agree that he kind of has the right game for this place too. Like the sort of the detailed path that we laid out of what constitutes being a good player here. What do you like? If you can go out and light it up with your irons from long distance, you're going to have a good chance of winning. But I do think the approach shots are harder at this course and around the green. Really needs to go through. So that's where I'm going. I bet Finau, by the way.
Cool bet.
Yeah.
What's he over there?
Yeah, 33 plus the 30% boost. So I'll list as
Boom.
33 on the page, and I'll get my extra payout. I won't put that on the sheet. So quick picks for Houston. I'm going to go Finau and Minwoo, 33 and 40 to 1. After that, Kevin Yu, 70 to 1, 8 places. Davis Riley, 75 to 1, 8 places. Nikolai Højgaard, 80 to 1 with 8 places. And then I'm just going to take just some shots down the list. Victor Perez, 125 with the placings. All of these are going to be with places because it has to be. Steven Fisk, 150. Ryan Fox, 175. And Toasty, 200 to 1.
The bets that are in Minwoo, Gracerman. I'm swimming in that middle, be it Detry, be it Pendrith. Maybe I pay up for Finau or a day, but they'll be added. And then north of 100, in on Vic already and in on Fisk. And I've bet Nikolai too much to... They'll be like, I have to get off Nikolai, but I feel like he can get away with a lot of shit here. So I don't know if this is where I get off Nikolai as his like number is exploded.
The only one to look at, I don't even think he's on the odds board right now. Let's see. Yeah, he is. Wilson Feu is there. He was the Monday Q for this.
Dude.
He's 1,500 to 1. He was first round leader here, second last year.
If for what it's worth, I saw a tweet that like our boy Skylar incredibly thrilled that William, or maybe it was Chad Ryder. I don't know. They were so happy one of those guys made the Monday qualifier yesterday. They're like foaming to bet.
Yeah, last year's first round leader. This is all in my article that's pinned up on X right now, also in the newsletter. So share it around if you can. I'll have the cheat sheet coming out after the live show with Tambo on Wednesday morning. So again, people have stopped it for a little while. I get it's not the most fun part of the golf season, but tweet it around, like it, do all that stuff, share it with some friends. It'd really help me out. Taylor Moore was a 64 in the first round last year, and so was Wilson Feu. He was then 75 on Friday.
Who else? Chad Reeder? Or I don't know. I saw the list of Monday qualifiers. I'm not going to pretend to know or care.
I just noticed that name popped up and that he was 1,500 to 1. So maybe, beyond first round leader, maybe I'll throw a top 20 on him or something like that. One and done picks for the week. As mentioned previously, Cust is taking Jacob Bridgeman. Didn't know his first name and thought that Bridgeman was 2 words, but that's who he's taking in the one and done. This is the guy who's winning the one and done right now. I beat you last week because I had Corey Connors. I actually won the week last week because I had Corey Connors. I got more money from Corey Connors last week, Jeff, than Cust got from Scotty Scheffler at the Players. I feel like that's a victory for me.
Yeah, that's a huge victory.
And I'll take Finau as my one and done. I assume you're using Minwoo?
No, I might have already used him.
You have not used Minwoo.
Have I used Day?
Yes.
That's Minwoo. Let's go.
Minwoo Lee. I'll be rooting for you to win.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm back with Tambo tomorrow morning live at 9 a.m. Eastern. In case you got questions, the newsletter will be following that. I got Michael Kim next week. We got Valero next week. We got, what else do we got? Oh yeah, Masters. The player by player. I think I'm going to do the player by player. I got to find some guests for that. If you have any suggestions for guests for that show, hit me up as we're going to try to do I always forget because we've been doing these shows for 12 straight weeks now. We've already had the players. So many more people don't tune into golf until the Masters and only for the Masters that I want to set do an early show on Thursday or Friday to really set the table for everyone who hasn't been tuning in. Here's what's been happening with these guys over the past 3 months.
I back it, and yeah, it's some NBA doesn't exist till Christmas Day. Golf doesn't start till the Masters. I can actually totally respect that. Even if you're a golf fan, you sometimes start at the Masters, and then that takes you long enough, takes you to football. You're thrilled.
There we go. And I'll have a very special giveaway hopefully announced on next Monday's show. Again, sorry about the delay on this show coming out on Tuesday. I was away. What are you going to do? Check out the major show if you didn't, though, because that was a lot of fun. I'm Pat Mayo. You can follow me at ThePME on X. Sub to the newsletter, sub to the channel, and smash the like while you're here. Well, giving me your winner down in the comment section as well. I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience! Experience!